Hey, Fatfish heads! It's time for another edition of the hottest new podcast on all platforms, Fatfish. Sit back and strap yourself in for the wildest ride on the open seas. Now, flap your fins for the fabulous Fatfish brothers, Eric Fish Snyder and Brad Grunny Grunberg, a.k.a. Snacks.
Thank you, Dave Linden. God, his voice gets better every show. How are you, buddy? Number 38 here.
I'm doing really good. How about you? It's been a while, and
Yeah.
we have a lot to catch up on. And
Sure.
let's start this off by this, Brad. I just want to pay homage to, we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and not everyone goes home for Thanksgiving. That's right. Put your fits on. But just don't forget those that can't go home. And for our troops that are out there and all the crap that's going on in the world, we appreciate you here at Fatfish, and we hope that our audience does too.
Amen. I mean, being in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, they're selfless people. They give the ultimate sacrifice, and they're away from their families during all the holidays, protecting us. So God bless them. Please stay safe.
Absolutely, buddy. And it's been a while. It feels like we haven't done a show in a while. There's been, we both were under the weather. And
I want to tell you, I got a restraining order against you. So what happened? It lapsed. So I got to get a new one. But we're all right. Both of us are back and better than ever.
We are better than ever. I missed you. I missed you. So talk to me about. Let's talk about hang on a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a sneeze.
You get another one.
I'm allergic to this guy, so I've been sneezing like crazy. What's a good thing? Get all the crap. Boy, the pollen.
Get all the crap out of here. Yeah, that's true.
I'm excited. I'm excited for your Arizona Wildcats that are bowl eligible.
One more time.
Keep talking.
We're bowl eligible. We're going to the Alamo, baby. We're going to the Alamo. So I'm very excited. How about your UT boys? Where are they going?
Well, there's a lot of, talk about anxiety. Yesterday at 9:00 in the morning, West Coast time, they announced the 4 teams that are going to the playoffs. Michigan, Washington undefeated. Alabama gets in because their boosters will buy anyone off. And then the University of Texas got in. My school. So excited. The last time we played for a championship, you'll remember this, was that Claxton game in 2005 between Vince Young and Matt Leinart that went down to the last play at the Rose Bowl.
Right.
So we have a chance at the championship. I feel bad for all those Florida State fans, Brad. They went 13-0 and got snubbed.
I know.
Thank God this is the last year, if you're a college football fan, of the 4-team format. We go to 12 next year. Are you in on that?
Well, I'm a Pac-10, Pac-12 guy. It's sad for me. I mean, it's sad for you too. We grew up with the Pac-10 and the Pac-12, and now, they just dismantled everything. Everybody took the money and they're going places. And it's going to be strange. A lot of these teams have to fly across the country, to play these games. And I don't know how this is all going to work out, but what happened? Let me ask you, what happened? You're smarter than me. What happens to the Pac-12? Do they get other teams to come in? I know they got like 4 teams or something now. Or?
They got 2 teams left. They got Washington State and Oregon State. And it's sad. It's sad that I think about you, and I think about you growing up and going to college. And it's sad that Arizona and Arizona State, it's not going to be the same kind of dynamic. Oregon State and Oregon have been played for 102 years and never going to play again unless they could schedule a non-conference thing. And I don't understand this. You hit the nail on the head. How does it benefit, other than the money? You're right, that a team like USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington go into a powerhouse like the Big Ten, and now you're adding Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State, Missouri. These teams are all really good, so you're going to have to play better. Is the money that much? Because it really is about making the playoffs and winning a national championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it about the money?
It's about the money. I mean, it's sad. It really is about the money. It's the greed, and they just took the money. And the Pac-12 made a huge mistake. They signed a 10-year contract. Now things change in 10 years, And so they really blew it. And I don't know. It's just not going to be the same, but we'll see what happens. Things can change again. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. I'm still trying to. We'll do sports. We got some memes. I got to show you some stuff from when you were younger. That's great. Before we get anywhere, how's your mom and dad doing? Brad, I'm going to get a picture. Brad takes his father, Jerry, 91 years old, to get a haircut. The old-fashioned haircuts. If you're our age, you remember you went to a barber shop, it was called. They had a little twirling little sign of the barber shop. You get a shave, you get a cut. There's a great movie with Ice Cube where barbershops are where people hang out and bullshit. And talk about your experience. And we've done it before, but for our new audience, talk about taking your 91-year-old father to get to the barbershop. Talk about the dialogue. Talk about the atmosphere.
It's so much fun because Dad, he always fights me. And then when we go there, Peter Molina, he's the best. Medina, he owns the place. I've known him probably 25 years, and he finally opened his own place in Beverly Hills, and it's called Deuce's Barbershop. And it's got one of those things outside, and it's so comfortable. You go in, and there's about 5 chairs, and the sports. They got the big TVs going with the sports and the Dodgers and the Lakers and whoever, whatever time of year it is, and it's just great. And I got a fresh cut. And my dad got a fresh cut, and then he got a shave, and he looks fantastic. I mean, come on. I don't want my dad shaving at 91. No. Come on. The man lived his whole life. He deserves a little pampering, and we did. We had a great time. We always have a great time there. And Peter is great. He's really good to my dad. And I go see this guy named Alex. He's great. We have 2 chairs right next to each other. So it's a lot of fun.
I think, and they have a few open up here in Las Vegas, Brad. I think if you're a man, you could do that with your dad or your son. I think I'm going to do it with Max. That's a great experience. Get the towels on your face. I mean, we sit there and we talk about women going to what my mother used to say when she was alive, rest in peace, the beauty parlor, for New York. But women go get their stuff done, their nails done, and I get manicures and pedicures. But
I do too.
We have the barbershop as our manscaping tool. Any women go to barbershops? When you're there, is any women walk in?
There are women that work there, but no, there's no. Oh no, yeah, women come in with their sons. They get them. These. How they take the clippers and they do. The fades and all that stuff. So the mother stands there in front of the chair and tells whoever's cutting her kid's hair, oh no, I want that over this way. And they, Mom, no, I want it like Joey at school, all that stuff. It's really funny stuff goes on there. But my dad really enjoys it. And I also take him for manicure pedicures, and he loves when they rub his feet. They give you a foot massage at the end. But I just love hanging out with my dad, and I love doing things for him because he did so much for me.
Still will.
Absolutely.
And you got a father that's 91, and you're already, I know you're 38. One leg. The other leg's around 32. So whatever old you are, it's still all that life's lessons you get, and your brother and your sister and the grandkids. It's that dynamic. Blessed.
Yeah.
And on the week after Thanksgiving, when we're hitting the holiday season, and Brad drives a Lyft and soon he'll be working as an actor, but he drives a Lyft, and it's got to be nuts right now with because the traffic. I always notice the traffic between Thanksgiving and Christmas is monumental with people going out and shopping. I thought maybe with the advent of the internet and you can go on Amazon, still the streets are crazy. You seeing that?
No, people are now out because the COVID it's still around, but it's not as prevalent. And people like to go and touch their items, and I pick up a lot of people, take them, this mall, that mall, this place, the airport. But I have a great story for you. So I think I mentioned it on one of our shows, but I'll mention it again. About 3 weeks ago, I get a call to pick up this woman at the Jewish Community Center on Fairfax. So I pull in, and the security's really tight because of what's going on in the world. And I pull in, this guy goes, all right, Brad, I'm going to load this woman in your car. She's really a character, but she lives a couple blocks away. Just let's get her home safe and sound. I go, yes, sir, no problem. You got the best man for the job. She gets in my car. Her name is Risa, and he goes, November 1st, she's going to be 106 years old. She gets in my car, has her wits about her, starts singing songs from Vienna, Austria. I was, you know how my grandma was my best friend. I'm enamored by her. And I went by a couple days ago to see her and kind of interviewed her. I have some stuff that I want you to show on the show. And she is a real character. And then my buddy, Tony Berland, he's a trainer and he trains the elderly, in his gym in Woodland Hills, California. And, gets and Risa starts telling my buddy Tony what her workout regimen is. She gets dumbbells. She rides the pedals. She plays the piano 1 hour a day. I mean, she's 106 years old. So I have a new buddy. I have a new pal. Her name is Risa. So.
You're more of an impact on her life than she is on yours. Trust me, because that for a woman to be able to get a younger person to talk to her and that is huge. Speaking of elderly women, I don't know if you watched any of the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Look how great this woman looks. That's Dolly Parton.
I know.
77 years old. I mean,
incredible.
I always had a crush on Sophia Loren and Raquel Welch because they look great. Rest in peace, Raquel Welch, into their 80s. But that is a good-looking woman right there. Yeah. You tell me she's 77. Yeah, it's work done, but wow.
Yeah. Raquel Welch was my favorite. Mother, Jugs, and Speed. Wow, is that a great movie, right?
No, 10,000 years BC when she was in that halter top and the loincloth, back in 71. You never dressed women looking like that. I mean, they
don't make movies like they used to, right? They just don't. Look at this crap out now. I mean, Aquaman, it's the same thing over and over and over again. The Marvel movies. I got a comedy I'm trying to sell. I got by the way, I'm going to sign. I think I'm going to sign with a new manager. I'm very excited. I met with her yesterday, and she really sweet. And we ended up going to high school together. She was younger than me, and she said all the right things to me. So
you bring up that manager. One of the greatest movies. I don't know if you have to have a certain mentality to be a Woody Allen fan. But he did a film called Broadway Danny Rose, where he was a manager. Remember that movie when he was a manager to he'd be a manager to a blind guy that used to take parrots to the mall. Finally gets a guy that's a lounge singer, and the actor's name is Nick Apollo Forte, and the guy ends up screwing him. He becomes big, and you see Danny goes back. He was always close with his clients. He would get a guy like a guy that was a ventriloquist, but he would when you saw the mouth. He'd be doing the thing. He just out lousy act. Let's hope your new manager, and I went to high school with her, can get you some decent stuff. I don't want to see you as a contestant on Star Search, the new one. And it's you. And we think what other actors that we don't see a lot. Grant Goodeve,
me, Grant Goody, Danny Bonaducci. Who's the guy from? One Day at a Time. Remember Valerie Bertinelli's boyfriend? Glenn Scarpelli. Glenn Scarpelli.
Whatever. I mean, look, if you get work, you get work. And
that's
so as we're going through the nostalgia hotline here, Brad and I go back. I get a lot of good comments about the 70s and the 80s and the 60s. Brad remembers this, and this will never happen again. Remember when a bell would ring, the attendant would come out, pump your gas, clean your windshield, check your oil, bring your change, and sometimes give you green stamps? Look, that really happened when we were kids.
Yeah, I know. I remember there was one Chevron in Tarzana, that they still did that, and the owner came out and he did all that stuff. He checked under the hood, make sure you had the window wash soap, and he checked your tires. He did all that. That art is over. Everything is like, there's hardly any. There's only one in Beverly Hills. My grandma used to take me to the 76. It's an old gas station. It like the architecture is amazing. and we used to go there. They still pump gas for you, but it's it's pricey. But everybody gets out of the car, and pumps their own gas. But that's things have changed so much, man. It's and
what concerns me the most in my business, and of course, I walked in, but once in a while I get like a Taco Bell. I'm driving, oh my God, you can smell it. You go in there, and there was no one standing at the counter. Everything was kiosk, and the kiosk has 11 different languages. So if you're German, you're Spanish, Italian, obviously English, you got to go to the kiosk. But wonderful way to save money. You pay in the kiosk, and if you want, obviously there's employees back there.
Right.
I heard, or I read in Tables Magazine, I believe that Japan is experimenting with robotic bartenders, and it makes me nervous because it's a robot.
Yep.
Looking like the kind of robots are in the movie I, Robot, very good film with Will Smith that came out about 15 years ago. So what they do is they'll look at your face and they'll say, what's your name? Thank you for coming to Shucks Tavern. Hi, I'm Brad. What's your last name? Brad Grunberg. And they look at your face and they get a complete composite of every single digital social outlet that you're on. And they could see in 1.3 seconds that you made a post on Facebook about going with your dad to get a haircut and a shave. A shave rather. And they'll say, Brad, how was your shave with Jerry the other day? And they could have that kind of conversation. I will say this. In my business, no robotic bartender will ever replace a human.
Exactly. It's never going to work because it's your personality that brings people back. Your really bad jokes. You are one of the greatest bartenders. You are Sam Malone. And I'm telling you, no, you are. I watch you. Remember, I'm there at like 3 a.m, and you got about 10 people, and you're working the room, man. You're working the room. You're very good at what you do. And
well, thank you. Let me cut you off like I always do. How does a robot read the room?
But a robot is not going to do it, man. And you know what? A lot of things, these atomic cars, I see them around LA. No one's driving them. I mean, what's going on in this world? I mean, this is the AI, man. This is the artificial intelligence, and it's just, I don't like it, man. It's dangerous. It really is, And by the way, when they do that thing with the face, I bet when you come back to that bar, the robot knows what you're drinking. Probably something like that too, right? Oh, are you going to have the gin and tonic there, Fish? Yeah,
sure. And they'll see you're an Arizona fan, so they'll ask about that. You could have a conversation with the robot, and they're going to improve that in the next 25 to 30 years. And what it does is it eliminates jobs that were around for hundreds of years because you're not paying the robot a wage. It's just someone that, But how are they going to break up a fight?
Yeah. They're going to have some employees, of course.
Well, what are they going to have? Yeah, exactly. Some kind of security. But some girls or guys go in there to flirt with the bartender. How are they going to flirt with you?
Yeah.
Brad, you look very good today. You look like you lost 12 pounds. What are you doing? Well, great.
It's many years away, but it's scary. It really is.
Not many years away. It's happening, and I get it. I get it from a business standpoint.
Perfect it. Like those girls we had on our show, they were fantastic. Great looking girls, great personalities. And I'm going to look at a fucking robot. I'm going to look at
guys go in to see girls like Ashley and Jade. Ashley at Chuck's, Jade over at the Standard, and there's a certain amount of of flirting and sexual attention with bartending. It's good sexual attention. It's just like you in a lift. They love going with you because you have a personality and you could talk to them people. And I'm sure you engage your clients and saying, hey, where are you going? What are you doing? Yeah. Whatever. And you make, if it's an 8-minute drive or a 20-minute drive, you enlighten that 8 minutes or 20 minutes. And we can't lose that, but it's heading that way. Concerns me. Just said, you can't walk. You're a fast food guy,
Who me? No, I'm a vegetarian. What are you talking about?
Then you'll find a vegetarian fast food place. What are you kidding me? Hey, look at this. Check out this one. Remember this?
Let's see.
Look at the McDonald's menu in 1970. 48 to 2.
48
cents for a fillet of fish.
Wow. 33 for a cheeseburger. Wow. 70 cents for a quarter pounder. Wow.
You could do if those prices were now, you could do the sequel to The Whale in 5 minutes.
Oh God, look at that board. Oh, I remember that board. But, I worked at McDonald's. That was my first job. And I got fired the next day because I was 15 and a half. Funny story. I knew the owner of the McDonald's, the Lopati family. And this is the McDonald's in Encino and Haskell. And you'd recognize it. And it's still there. And I remember them telling me, all right, get the paint. You're going to go paint the poles in the parking lot. And I want you to paint the bathroom door. So I finished all the the brown and the yellow. I finished all the poles, and then I went to the bathroom, the men's bathroom. Some guy just took a steamy one. Oh, and I had to paint the door, and I'm smelling this guy's shit. Oh, I'm sick to my stomach. And then the greatest thing is they gave me my check the next day, and they said, "I'm sorry, we have to fire you. You're 15 and a half. You got to be 16." So that was my McDonald's story. But of course, they paid me in food, so that was a really good thing.
Brad and I never know what we're talking about. I show these memes, and it's funny how the world is so circular and so close, and 6 degrees of separation. I went to high school in the Valley for a year, and I worked at McDonald's on Coldwater and Victory, and the owners' names were the Lopatis. And the Lopatis owned that one too. And Ben Lopati, if you ever met him, and he came in with his 2 sons, and it looked like this little, I can't think of the actor's name, but he had this voice like, "You're not doing that right." And his 2 fat sons. Well, one day I was working the kitchen. Back then you did the 6 turn and lay. So you're doing the burgers, and there was a kid that worked there named Darren Botner and my buddy Craig Persky. And we would take the burgers and we'd throw it to see if it would stick on the ceilings. Right?
Oh gosh.
Lopati walks in with his 2 sons.
Wow. Right?
And we're waiting and we're talking. I said, "Oh fuck." One of those, because we waited it. We did a contest. We bet each other $1, how long it would take the patties to fall off the ceiling.
Oh my God.
When Lopati's sitting there talking to us, right? And he goes, "You need to get faster when you're doing this." And I'm not kidding you. A patty falls right in his fat fucking forehead.
No.
Right. Funniest thing in it. We're dying.
I love it.
We all
right
got to stay for a week. We didn't get fired. But the laughter between 2-3 guys that are 16 years old we talk about that every time. What's the chances of them walking in? We're looking up like that. They never saw the patties up there. But we knew. Hit him like right here. And then it bounced, hit him in the nose, and walked out. Goes, "What the hell is that? Oh my God." To this day. God. But we both worked for them, and that Lopati family owned most of the McDonald's. You know which one they owned? There was McDonald's. You live in LA on Canaan Road that was open 24 hours on the 101 in Canaan Road. So if you came back from the beach, the first 24-hour McDonald's, how much money they made? Those guys are loaded.
Yeah.
And I got suspended for throwing a burger on top of the thing, and I hit the guy in the head.
You're not going to tell that same story again with the burger on the top of the ceiling.
No,
that was a funny. Let me explain how this
works. Did I tell that
before?
I
want to tell you how it works because
Did I tell that before that story?
I'm the fun. Yeah, no, you just kind of repeated the same story. Let me explain how it works. You are a great guy. You're a handsome guy, but when you tell a story and you killed it with it hit him on the face, right? And 16-year-olds laughing. The story ends right there. Okay. Don't go, Molly.
You agree, Molly?
Even Molly's upset with you.
Yeah. Well, this is the third time you brought up the 106-year-old woman on the podcast. So in 4 weeks,
we got a short picture.
I think you have early dementia. I really do, because you bring up stuff every time. You say it's for our new audience.
Ready.
Okay.
Look in the mirror.
I'm getting things right here. He goes, "Brad brought that up 3 times from Casey Evans." I'm not.
I never did. I write everything down.
It's good though. It's good that people notice what we talk about. But you're right. I'll leave the comedy to you. You're funnier looking, but the funny part of that story is that we both worked for the same guy, and we both remembered him.
I
you're
think
younger than I am. 10. You're about 4 years younger than I am, and so you. The one on Encino did you work on the one on White Oak and Ventura, or the one on Haskell?
I worked on the one not on White Oak. The other one, Haskell. The one in Encino, that Encino, the other way, But
you talked about COVID, and we bring up LA a lot. It's a shame what COVID did, because I'm thinking about all the deli. Jerry's Deli went out of business because of COVID. It just couldn't hang on long enough, and there was a Jerry's Deli right there on White Oak and Ventura, right near that McDonald's that you worked on. And I just think, man, we don't have a lot of delis out here in Las Vegas. You sat in one of the best ones with me, the Bagel Cafe.
Oh yeah.
But you're blessed to have so many great delis out there, and even the ones in the Valley, Brand Arts.
Yeah.
Is Nate Now still there in Beverly Hills?
Nate Now's is still there. It was bought. Nate Now's and Apple Pan were bought by Irving Azoff. He is a very, very well-known music producer, and him and his wife bought because they were going to tear it down. They were going to go out of business. So he saved those two mama papa places. And I was at Nate Now's probably within the last 6 months. It's still great. But I go to Factor's Deli. That's where I met Laura Rosenstock, my new manager. I'm going to call her after I talk to you for an hour. And we sat on the patio, and Factor's has been there a long time. The family, they're great people. And, a lot of the old timers used to meet there, the Monty Halls of the world, yes, they all used to meet on Wednesday, and they called it, I don't know what they called it. It was the guy's name in his memory. And they'd all sit at this one table, this big, long table, and they bullshit for hours. I love that stuff. We got to start that. We got to start something like that.
But one of my favorite, you're in Curb Your Enthusiasm. One of my favorite scenes he's ever done in 11 years or however many years, 20 years he's done the show, is he went to Cantor's one time with all these mentally challenged people, and it was a fun night. And he did, and the fact that Larry David's character, none of them being mentally challenged, they ran a car wash. And he went there. And he saw them sitting there, and he sat there at the table. And if you go to Cantor's Deli, which is on Fairfax in LA, everybody, for people that are not LA bound, and like Brad and I are, it still has that same allure. I was there, and I did a project with Brad a couple years ago, and I went in there and I had to see it, and ate there at my friend Fat Jeff. Same, the same big salamis holding behind the deli. The bakery has these chocolate chip danishes. Still the same. They still have the same 105-year-old waitresses.
Yeah,
I love the smell of delis. I love the ambiance.
Don't they? And they still have the kibitz room. The other side there where people play the music. They have like live music after. Yeah, the waitresses are 200 years old. It's a great. Listen, they can never tear down Cantor's Deli. Never. They can't.
Oh, hell no! I got to turn down Cantor's Deli, and we mentioned this before. I was so excited when they opened Cantor's here in Las Vegas, and it lasted 6 months. Same people, same owners. It just didn't make it. They put it in a really ritzy part of town, in a mall, and parking was tough. And it's some things should just stay the same. I know you're trying to market your image and stuff like that, but
also we have a deli, right? Didn't you have Stage Deli? Didn't you have Stage Deli?
We had it in the Forum Shops. I don't know if it's still there or not. A huge sub sandwich place here called Capriotti's in Las Vegas. There's got to be 50 units here. Went to LA and they closed. I mean, LA. There's so much in LA. There's so many big.
What about Pink's Hot Dogs came to Vegas? That lasted 10 minutes, right? That's done. Yeah.
And look at it in LA, right? Yeah. If you go to Pink's right now, it's almost 9:30 or whatever. Yeah. If you go to Pink's Hot Dogs, I guarantee there's a line probably forming, right?
Right. I was there earlier this morning. Yeah, there was a line. But I'm telling you, the gentleman that you introduced me to at the Bagel Cafe, he has the Midas touch. And give him a shout out.
Sabas is great. He's had that place 30 years. He came over from Greece, and he married into a family, and the family helped him get this place going. He's got a few units, but that's got a great feel for it. Like, great. One thing, you go in a restaurant, and you could attest to this. What's the size of the portions on the plate? And you have to admit, huge. They have a lot of to-go boxes going out of that joint. Trust me.
Oh, and then when you go over to the bakery, the big ding dongs and all that. But it was so funny when I was talking to him, and I think you remember this. I brought up Bagel Mania, and his face dropped. He looked at me like he was going to kill me, and he started telling us a story about how they stole his, all the bullshit. He's such a good guy. He's more successful than Bagel Mania. hands down. Better food, better employees, better everything. But it was funny. That was like the kiss of death for me. Everything was going well in the conversation until I went, do you know a place called Bagel Mania? Oh my God.
All the white, all the blood left his face.
Yeah.
And he's got that accent. I can't do his accent, but look, he's the epitome of success in this business, like my guys at Chuck's, stuff like that, is that consistency is everything in the restaurant business. And he's got consistent employees, consistent food, consistent everything. I mean, you know, what I have to ask you this question to segue into something, because I've always thought this. I never asked you on it. When you have a good franchise in a movie, and the biggest product I'm going to tell you right now that failed was the original movie Arthur in 1981 was brilliant. Yeah. John Gielgud, Liza Minnelli, Dudley Moore crushed it. The next one they did was so bad.
Hold on, Dad.
They pulled it from the theaters.
Dad, you got to leave. Dad, I'm on a podcast. You got to get up and go. Go in the back. Can you go in the other room, please?
Bring him on.
No, he answered the phone. I told him, please, for the next hour, you can sit there. But yeah, sorry. So
you sound like one of these guys in a commercial that they do for live with their moms, and they say, "Mom, more spaghetti." You know, Dad got to leave. What a horrible son. Jesus. Anyways, the problem is consistency. We're talking about. How many times have you seen a movie, Brad, that was a great franchise and the sequel was so god awful?
Yeah.
And the Arthur 2 was called Arthur on the Rocks, I believe. Mm-hmm. Minnelli, I'm obviously sure John Gielgud passed away before they do it. They brought the entire cast back. And even if Dudley Moore was alive and when he was, you could tell how bad it was. He didn't even go see it, you know? Yeah. It's that much in your business. Is it that much about the money? Because the only sequel, and I'll shut up, that I thought was phenomenal was The Godfather 2.
Godfather 2 is great. Rocky 2 is great.
True.
You know, there's certain movies they should make sequels, and there's certain movies they shouldn't. And by the way, my friend Pete Siegel, who directed Tommy Boy and the Sandler film 50 First Dates, he just directed My Spy, and then he just wrote My Spy 2. And I did some voices for him last week. Oh, is it funny? Oh, is it funny? You know that Batista, Dave Batista. You know, he was a wrestler.
Love him. Oh yeah, he's talking about a big marble guy type guy. Yeah,
he was so good, so funny. Ken Jeong is in it. Craig Robinson. But oh my goodness, the stuff that I saw, I was crying. It was so good. So everybody go see My Spy 2 when it comes out. Really good.
Yeah, it's
really funny.
I'm glad the business is starting to thrive again.
Well, that's not true.
Well, let me
explain something.
What's your new manager's name? Lala Rokenstock. What's her name?
No. Let's stop. Laura Rosenstock. Now, let me explain something to you. We haven't ratified the contract yet. We're voting, and a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are voting no. And I'm telling you, it's going to take a long time to rev things up again. Everybody thought, I was talking to my buddy Chucky Myers, great musician. He thought, everybody must be back working. It doesn't work that way. To get these productions going again, you have to hire. Some people don't want to go to New Mexico. They got a job here in LA to be near their family. I mean, I'm being honest, the business is in shambles. It really is. It is. This whole strike could have ended in 10 minutes, but Iger and all his merry men and this one woman, they kept it going and going and going. 114 days, buddy.
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing the way
you're laughing at me.
Iger and his merry men. What a great line.
Driving. Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot. You're a good friend. You're a real putz. You know show business. Your mom, God rest her soul, was in the business, correct?
My stepdad.
And your stepdad
loves our show now. He's 89 years old. He won an Emmy award for being the technical director on the greatest sporting event ever. One of them, the Miracle on Ice, and he really misses. He's He's like you. He's so pissed off at everything that he would not even stream new shows because he goes, he's the New Yorker and he's great. He goes, if you watch Netflix, God damn it, he goes, you're giving these people the leverage, but people are going to watch, and they're going to do the smartest thing the networks did during this whole thing is they put Monday Night Football on ABC. It was indigenous to ESPN.
Yes.
NBC put Notre Dame football. CBS put all these games, college football games, and massive ratings because they have it. So, unfortunately, sports they're not members of SAG. So
right. But also, I think they brought them back because some of these football games were streamed. Like on Thursday, isn't the Thursday game streamed on Amazon Prime? And they're bringing it back because they want the revenue, right? They want the revenue from all the commercials and stuff. Because a lot of when you stream, there's hardly any commercials.
Football is the number one watch thing. Anyway,
right,
the top. If you look at the Nielsen ratings, the top 10 shows in America every year, 7 are football games. It's just the way it is. We're sports fanatics, and that's a good thing. Well, look, we all hope we talk about it since this thing started when you guys walked in June or May, or rather, that we need you back. I want to see you on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and you will meet with your potential new manager and strategize things. It's rough, and you have family in the business, and it's rough on everyone involved.
And not just actors, and it's below the line. Those are the people that really suffer. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we ratify it. It's close.
Are you a fan of two-part question? Late night TV is the first part, and the second one is I'm so spoiled by Johnny Carson and David Letterman. I don't think anyone hits that standard. So the third part of this question is, you might be friends with some of these people. Does anyone hit that standard for you, or is that a lost art?
That's a lost art. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is a nice guy. I don't think he's funny at all. And because the Academy Awards is on ABC, he's going to be the host again. He was terrible. He was awful. Then we got Jimmy Fallon. He's all right. I like Jimmy Fallon because he's like a big fan, like when he interviews some of these people, you can tell he's a big fan, like the people that are watching. Who else? Stephen Colbert. He took over for Letterman. I'm not a big, Letterman came on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert about a week ago. That was interesting. Letterman, I like Letterman a lot, but he's kind of lost his zest. He's gotten older. Some of his jokes don't work anymore, but I still love him. He's a legend.
Me too. I love the story. Please go back and watch our show 3 weeks ago with Carrot Top. Carrot Top talks about being on Letterman. All I have to say is watch his stories about Letterman and Leno, who was another one that was a rivalry back in the day in the 80s and 90s, or actually 90s and early 2000s when Johnny Carson retired. I like James Corden. He was the only one of all those guys you mentioned I thought was. I like Craig Ferguson. I don't know what the hell happened to him. He's hard to understand because he was so Scottish.
You know who got boned? I think he could have been the biggest and the best. Conan O'Brien. So funny. Great. Leno, it effed him. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe that Leno came back after he retired. That was so. When people retire, let's go to the sports analogy. When you retire, Michael Jordan, then he went to the Wizards, right? And he blew out his knee or whatever. Why do you have to come back? It's over. Michael, you hit the shot in Utah, 6 championships, walk away. It's just like Tom Brady. What are these people doing?
Yeah, I disagree with you. I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Why do you disagree with
me? I'll tell you. When Brady came back, Brady came back at a very high level, okay? And he went to the playoffs every year with Tampa and did the same thing with look at New England now. They can't get it out of there. So it's not fair. They say Michael Jordan and Tom Brady were quoted saying the biggest highs in our life is walking into that stadium or that arena and hearing those fans. And these guys are zillionaires outside of the game. That's like telling you to quit acting at 60.
But I'm not.
Because you don't get that kind of. You don't. I get this. If you come back and if you left the game and you stunk when you left the game, why come back? That's your ego. But you come back and you're still winning championships and still. Michael Jordan averaged 26 points a game with the Wizards and was still at a high level. I understand where you're coming from with the ego and go away. Aaron Rodgers is one that I questioned.
Oh my God,
he didn't want to retire. Brett Favre was one I questioned. But I
Yeah.
disagree with you. If you can still get that high and you can still perform at that level,
But you're taking the spot of a younger guy.
oh,
You have
fuck
to
that. The younger
understand
guy.
something.
Come on.
When you retire, look, okay, Jordan Love, he came up, right? Right? Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets. Jordan Love stepped in. Let me explain something to you. The window closes in life. That's how it works. And you know what? You move on to another chapter in your life.
I disagree.
How about
Jordan
Muhammad-
Love, I watched that game last
Hold
night.
it, hold it.
I
How
disagree
about
with you.
Muhammad Ali?
Well, he stayed on too long. He didn't retire. He should have retired.
Stop talking. Muhammad Ali, Caesar's Palace, Larry Holmes pummeling him, and him turning around to the ref. Please stop this. This is my hero. And he kept pummeling him.
Okay,
What did Muhammad Ali have to
Listen.
come back for? Why?
Bring your dad back in. I want to talk to him.
But
Because make your argument, Brad. Your Brad was guys retiring and coming back. Muhammad Ali never retired. He kept going.
He did
So your
retire.
argument is shit.
Yes, he did.
You stop talking for a second. Name a year that Tom Brady ever had a bad year. He went to the playoffs 18 straight years. And so you're giving me bad examples.
Never going to win another Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is never going to win another Super Bowl. Do you understand that?
You don't know that.
I know that for a fact. Yes.
Okay, you know. Okay, so you know that for a fact. You're a soothsayer. You're Nostradamus. Okay,
I'm telling you.
I can end it on this. Jordan Love had a masterful game last night against the Chiefs and is playing great. And all he does is praise Aaron Rodgers for the tutelage. And Aaron Rodgers left. The kid played 3 years. Wait a minute. Rodgers sat for 3 years under Brett Favre. Okay.
Right.
And he came in and played terrific. They don't give rookie quarterbacks and rookies anymore because of the money they make. They don't give that kind of patience, this and that. Go back to David Letterman for a second. I got to get something off my chest because I don't want to argue with you because I get hungry. And then if I get hungry, I'm going to eat like you. Letterman was so brilliant that these guys don't have. Brad Grunberg is quick-witted. That's what makes you funny. Okay, off the top of your head.
Thank you.
I'm watching Letterman at the end of his career, and Warren Beatty walks out. He sits in the chair, and Warren Beatty doesn't do interviews.
Right.
The great actor Warren Beatty. Everybody from Reds, Heaven Can Wait for you younger people.
Shampoo.
Oh yeah, you might know him. Sits in the chair, and the first thing Letterman says is, he goes, "Are you still banging Madonna?" I'm watching the 50 years ago. We both fall off the couch.
That's funny.
The look on Warren Beatty's face. Talk about the blood leaving his face like Savas did when you asked about Bakelmania. And he goes, there's silence. And he goes, everyone knows you're sleeping with Madonna. It's okay that she's younger than you. He goes, I would too if I had the opportunity. And it was just great. You don't see that nowadays in these late night guys. They're too afraid, woke culture. They're too afraid to offend anybody.
Politically correct. Everybody has got to chill out. It's a joke. Let's have some fun. And, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said something so poignant about life. The pendulum in life swings left, right, and then comes back to the middle. I'm telling you, it's time. It's time to laugh again. We need to laugh. And then, you make fun of somebody and they're, oh my God, that was so mean. Yeah, and blah, blah, blah. I go, shut the fuck up. It's a joke. Now, if you offend somebody as a comedian and, their kids are getting made fun of at school and all that stuff, then you stop. You stop.
You want to offend somebody? Look at this meme.
Yeah, show me.
If a man speaks in the forest and there is no women there to hear, ... Is he still wrong?
He's still wrong. It's funny. You're a married man. Beautiful Vicky, she runs the show there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? She has a final say. I don't know if she runs the show, but she has a final. She's the words of wisdom. I'm the loose cannon, and she always seems to bring me down to that happy medium. And but I always said this: in any relationship, you've had girlfriends, even your relationship with your parents or your family, it's the 2 C's. Would you agree with that, Brad? That it's compromise and communication in any relationship.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. It's not, and there are certain relationships where people rule with an iron fist. I can't stand that. If you're married and you have a partnership, you work as partners. That's how it's not easy. That's why I'm not married. But But
You know what?
You know, I haven't
Stop
met
talking
Vicky
like you
yet,
tell
but
me.
I love her. I love her
Stop
because she
talking.
got you off the streets of love. Thank God.
Stop talking. And this is the biggest testament I could ever make to you.
Here we go.
When I'm not feeling good, physically or mentally, Brad Grunberg brings you up. And then I'm not the first person. You could talk to Kat. I'll bring out names. Kathy Ziegler, a lot of people that use. So Brad Grunberg misses calling and being a therapist. Phenomenal. The second thing is the fact that you're not married is a fucking travesty. Because the way you think about people, the fact that you're not a dad, do you know how lucky, and I'm getting all gushy here, you know how lucky your dog is to have you and your parents? You made the choice not to get married, but you could still get married. Okay.
Of course.
That 106-year-old woman would take you in a minute.
Oh, you're funny.
Does she have money?
No, it's funny you say that. I did a couple bits with her, which I'm going to post. I think you're going to like them. But yeah, you know, I love people and I have a big heart. You know, I told you just recently I got rid of a lot of people in my life, and it's the best thing I ever did. And I waited too long. And you know who your friends are. You're like a brother. And I'm so glad I could be there for you when you were going through a tough time. You asked my advice. I gave you my advice, and I hope it helped because you just, well, yeah, I know. But
well,
no, I
let
mean,
me ask
listen,
you this.
everybody
Can I ask you
needs
a
to
personal
talk.
question in front of America?
I'm sorry, say again?
You're a catch. You're not a bad looking guy. You groom yourself.
Man.
You know, I don't like so much your dietary habits because I'm concerned about you, but
if I was gay,
your life.
I think I would date you.
Well, hang on a second. I'm just gonna ask you because why not? We're transparent here and it's all about honesty. Do you go on any of these sites, the JDates, the Match.com, to try and find a woman, or you just hope that you meet someone in your lift?
I'm not kind of old school. I have, but I haven't met anybody. I've gone on lots of dates, but I have a big heart. And this is what happens with me. I date a girl for like 6 months, and I have a 6-month rule. After 6 months, the water settles and everybody becomes who they really are. You know, at the beginning, you know, you're texting, oh, I had the greatest time last night. And with me, oh, you're the greatest lover. You have a large manhood. See, I went to that again. I wanted to see if you're awake. But no, what happens is after 6 months, the water settles, and a lot of these girls, they take me for granted. And that's it for me. When you take me, it's like a stake in my heart, you know, because I always ask a girl, I think you've been around me when I ask the girls, nice guys or bad boys. And I want to see what they say to that, because a lot of them, the young girls go, oh, I like bad boys. What's wrong with me? You know, I go, you're going to be 40. And if you're still going out with a bad boy, you're in big fucking trouble. And I ask girls in my lift, you know, nice guys or bad boys, because it's definitely, I mean, I learned that at the Tropicana female mud wrestling. These girls would go out the biggest dirt bags, biggest scumbags, and they'd always break up with them. And, oh, I think I told you, did I tell you the story about when I went nose to nose with this guy? Okay, I'm going to tell you the story. So this one girl named April, sweetest girl in the world, she comes to work, and then she said, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend. He's such an asshole. The boyfriend comes in that night. Now, we allow no boyfriends in the club during working hours, because the girls get intimidated by looking over at their boyfriend, and he like gives them a look like, what are you doing? Why are you letting that guy grab your ass? You know? So this asshole comes in and he starts tipping her best friend in front of her to get back at her. So she's screaming, Johnny Cocktails, get him the fuck out of here. God damn it, brother. So I go, hey, buddy, come here. I got to talk to you. He goes, what do you want? I go, it's time for you to go. He goes, I'm not going anywhere. And we go nose to security's around me. And I go to the security guy. I go, call 911. We're calling an ambulance for this guy. Listen to me, motherfucker. You got one punch, and I'm going to fucking kill you. Get the fuck out of here. He backed off. He left. Now, here's the bad part. The next day, he's driving her brand new Mercedes and drops her off at work and drives off. I go, April, what the fuck? I put my fucking ass on the line for you, and you, well, he came over and we had makeup sex. Last time I ever did that, and I will never, ever do that again. You know, if I remember.
You know what I would have said?
Yeah, what would you say?
Why don't you come over to my house and we could have first time sex?
That's true. Yeah.
My sister's a beautiful woman, single.
Mhm.
My wife's a beautiful woman. Everyone who watches us, what we do is we take this podcast and I put it on YouTube. So I put it on my big screen TV set, like you when you came over to my house.
Yeah, right.
And they all say, "How's Brad still single?" And my sister had the greatest line. She goes, "He probably meets women that are vegans, and that's it. That's a deal breaker." What a great line my sister has. He goes, "He's adorable. He lives in Los Angeles. There are plenty of women. Did you ever go to the Stephen Wise Temple dance when you were a kid?
Yeah,
all the broads over there that were absolutely phenomenally rich dads. You know, come on."
I was bar mitzvahed at Stephen S. Wise Temple.
That's not the question I asked you. They were 13.
You asked me if I went to
those dances there.
Stephen Wise Temple. I just told you yes, I did.
Okay. You didn't go to the. Did you go to the dances they had? When I worked at Mom's Saloon, you wouldn't believe how many people would say, "I didn't see them last couple of nights." Well, Stephen Wise had a dance and this and that. And they had great dances, and there was a lot of hookups in that place at the time. And well, you know what? My goal is to find you a woman that likes to eat fast food. That's what we have to do.
Or a girl that works at a fast food. I'm in love with this girl at Chick-fil-A who takes my order every time I go in. So I might ask her out. I think she's like in her 20s.
They love you. I guarantee you're the only guy that walks into a fast food place. You're the guy that goes to a drive-through at a fast food place and tips the person in the window. I do.
I do.
You ever see a look on their face when you know? It's funny. There's I know you're not a fan of Kevin Kline, but Kevin Kline had a great line in the movie Dave. He goes, "You ever look at the person's face when they get a job? The expression on their face, that look of elation, and the self-esteem is up and the confidence. The look on those people's faces when you give them a tip in a fast food place makes it. People, I'm telling you, if you're at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or any fast food place you go to, throw the person in the window a tip of $1 or $2. You're making their day.
Absolutely.
Who gives a shit? It's $2. You know.
I don't talk about what I do, but I'm gonna for this because the subject matter. So the girl that I like at Chick-fil-A, I took out a 20. I gave it to her. She looked at me like, "Oh my God, thank you so." She was elated. Like, I bought her a $1 million house. I gave her $20 because she always took my order. She was always sweet, always with a smile, and she helped me. Like if I'm using my points, and I said, "You always." And I told her, and she goes, "Why?" And I go, "You always make me smile when I come here," and that's it.
Love it.
You can't take it with you. I mean, listen. You're a millionaire. I'm not, but But no. The bottom line, I know we're happy in love.
No, we are
happy in what
we're
we do.
Working sticks, but we're happy. You know?
Yeah,
I make a living. I'm lucky. My wife makes a living, but I made a living, and I still need to, and you still need the bartend, and I still love doing it. We are heading into the home stretch. We have 5 weeks left in the NFL season. Before we get out of here, I want to show you a meme because I root for your Wildcats. Obviously, my son has something about that also. But
Big Max,
how about this? Bow down to a nation greater than yours. Look at that. Look at Snoop back in the day, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube, all Raider fans. And the Raiders have to win 4 of their next 5 games to have a shot at the playoffs. Yeah. Let's do it. We've had a rough run the last 20 years. I'm gonna.
By the way, I sent you the picture from John Orlando.
I was just gonna go there.
Oh,
John Orlando. Brad has introduced me to a lot of great people since we've reconnected. But one of the greatest people is Tony Orlando's son, John, who was just an apple off the old tree of his dad. Tony, we had on our second show, I believe. John's one of these guys that knows everybody. And Brad sends me a text saying, "Don't get jealous." And I open it up, and John's in a booth at the Pac-12 championship game with Mark Davis, Marcus Allen, Tim Brown, and
Vince Coleman.
But he's with the 3 Raiders he's with 2 Hall of Fame Raiders and Marcus and Tim Brown and the owner of the Raiders. And you can see they all like John. John's a likable guy. And John was nice enough. He owns a studio called Sticky Paws, where he was nice enough to give us a studio where we had one of our best interviews at Carrot Top. So, I live my life vicariously through John Orlando.
And
Good.
by the way,
look,
John Orlando is
my wife used to look like Vanessa. She still looks great. Is that her name? We have
his
show,
fiance is beautiful. Vanessa is she's more sweet inside than beautiful outside. But I will tell you
so
this.
is John.
Yes, John's a handsome guy. But I will tell you this. John is going to come on the show because he has one of the greatest stories I have ever heard. When he lived in LA, this story is so epic, okay? He's going to come on and tell the story. You're like, no, that didn't happen. But when you hear the story, you're like, how could he make this shit up?
Can we get him on next week?
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because
that'd be great.
His
we'll
dad.
We'll get rid of you, and then he'll replace you, and then he'll tell the story. It'd be great. Yeah.
Well, I'll get rid of you and put John Hyatt in. At least we won't have a camera.
By the way, John Hyatt is the greatest. He took me to the greatest night of my life, to the Spearmint Rhino.
What the fuck happened there?
Wait,
I don't. You know, we have a perfect show, and then I fuck.
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing now?
I don't know. So I have no idea what's going on. We're having a thing. Actually, I'll do is this. We have some music playing because we're talking about you at the Spearmint Rhino. But get us out of here because this is a great show, and it has been a great show. Yeah. But the technical nightmare that is Eric Snyder.
I'm going to end on this. John Hyatt took me to all these strip clubs. He took me to the Palomino. He took me to Honey's, this new club. But the girls at the Palomino, it was so amazing. I met these two girls from Utah, and they say, "Oh, we just moved to town. We're roommates, and we are having such a good time." I go, "Are you guys Mormon from Utah?" They look me right in the eye and go, "Not anymore." Is that great? Oh my God, I love it.
What a way to end the show.
Oh my God. Dave Linden, 38's in the books. Take us home, baby.
Hey, it was great seeing you, Brad. And, I'm ecstatic to be back on. We're both feeling better.
Yes.
You have a great week, and let's plan. Fatfish fans.
39.
We're planning on getting Johnny Orlando on soon because love this guy.
I will talk to him for next week. You got
Thanks, buddy.
You've been listening to the Fatfish Podcast, heard on all your favorite platforms. Until next time.
Nanny, I miss you, Nanny. See you, buddy.
He misses you too.